The 2005 gymnastics season starts here with the Super 6 Challenge. Led by NCAA All-American standout Ashley Miles, the Alabama Crimson Tide are once again in great position to make a run at the national championship. A year ago, it was the Super 6 seniors that led SEC rival Georgia to a second-place NCAA finish. Now, it's up to a much younger core to get the job done with a #2 ranked gym dog. The Florida Gators are on home turf and are also in title contention here. The Gators took an impressive second-place finish at last year's Super 6, sending a strong message that they are a force not to be denied. Tonight, these three favorites, plus Arizona, Iowa, and Penn State, vie for the Super 6 title. Let the season begin. Welcome to the Stephen C. O'Connell Center here on the campus of the University of Florida here in Gainesville, Florida for the 2005 Super 6 Challenge Gymnastics Competition. Welcome inside what they call here in town the O-Dome. My name is Bart Conner, and we're glad you've joined us here for this early season gymnastics test. 6 of the top 20 teams in the nation have come here for this challenge. Let's take a look at the preseason standings, and you'll notice that 3 of the top 6 teams are from that powerful SEC conference, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, competing here tonight. The rest of the field rounded out by Arizona, Iowa, and Penn State. I'm joined now by double Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson-Clark. And Kathy, you've been to this competition many times. You've seen the power of these SEC teams.
Bart, if you take a look at the history of the NCAA National Championships, only 5 teams have ever won the national title. 2 of those 5, Georgia and Alabama, are from the SEC. That pretty much speaks for itself. But the unique aspect here is the intense rivalry between these 2 teams. It starts from the top. The 2 head coaches have rivaled each other throughout their whole careers. And it's a lot of fun to watch, but it's really increased the level of their gymnastics. Let's take a look at what Georgia has lost. Last year, it was the story of the Super 6 seniors, and they were absolutely amazing. They did everything you can possibly do in collegiate gymnastics except win a national championships. Now they've got to rebuild this foundation around their experienced gymnasts and arguably one of the most talented freshman class in the country.
Now, Alabama lost an 18-time All-American, and yet Ashley Miles is a spectacular gymnast to watch. She may fill those shoes.
Absolutely. Gina Rice won the national championship last year in the all-around, capping a great career. Ashley Miles, though, can step right in. 3-time national champion. Twice on the vault, once in the floor exercise, and she can sky. She is one of the most powerful, dynamic gymnasts in collegiate gymnastics. Very, very strong, and a lot of fun to watch.
Well, what do you think about Rhonda Fain's team at the University of Florida? They're hosting tonight's competition.
From the moment Rhonda stepped into this position, she has changed the way they train, the way they perform, the way they compete. Now they get to compete in front of a home crowd here at the Super 6.
Well, 6 of the best teams in the country ready to challenge in the Super 6 Challenge. When we come back, we'll see Georgia and Florida going head-to-head in this 6-ring circus. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Super 6 Challenge. 6 teams in the competition, 4 competing at a time. Arizona on the vault, Penn State on the bars, Florida on the beam, Georgia on the floor, Iowa on a bye, as is... Now we go to the uneven bars. Crystal Uzelat, the 4'11" freshman, was the it girl for a few years for the U.S. program, out of the Parkettes program in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
A junior national championship 3 times. Just an amazing young gymnast. And then retired briefly. Left the sport for a while. Nice to see her want to come back, do gymnastics, go to school, and still be able to swing bars.
She's competing only on the uneven bars. Keep in mind, this is a team competition. There'll be 6 performers on each event. The top 5 scorers count towards their team total, meaning they have 1 low score they can drop.
Nice big
For the Nittany Lions, you can see they have had 4 performers. The high score 9.725, 9.75. We'll expect the high score from Crystal Uzelak. The 8.9 will be dropped so far. That is the lowest score. Now to the beam, Erin Dooley out of Gaithersburg, Maryland.
Another former elite gymnast.
She's the co-captain of this team, a 6-time All-American redshirt senior.
And most amazing, Bart, last year did not record a fall. Hit 55 routines without a fall. Very consistent, particularly on this event. Just ice water in her veins. She is so calm.
She comes from that powerhouse program in Maryland. Kelly Hill and Jen Bundy. Hill's Gymnastics. On the uneven bars, the score for Crystal Uzelak was a 9.85, so a strong showing for Penn State.
Erin also has such great presence on beam. Nice poise, good position of the chin, the hands.
Clever dismount, a gainer with a full twist off the side. You see she gets congratulations from her teammates as well as Rhonda Fain, the head coach at Florida.
So far, Florida's doing a great job on floor exercise, on balance beam. Take a look at these scores. A little bit conservative, but this is early in the season, and they want to drop that 9.65, first one up. We start building, we want to see some 9.9s. But I'm sure we'll see later in the competition.
You mentioned it's early in the season. All the coaches using this as an opportunity to test their athletes. Sarah Patterson from Alabama told us that it's important to have a meet now to just test where you are at this point of the season.
Because there's no way to know. And there's no way to see how the freshmen in particular are going to react in a competitive situation. With a big crowd, we have a great crowd here.
From Grove City, Ohio, the other co-captain of this team, this is Samantha Lutz, 2004 All-American on the balance beam. Very technically sound and precise gymnast. The score for Erin Dooley was a 9.8.
Exactly what you expect to see, even from the very best teams this early in the season and on this event. You'll see tiny little checks of balance. They're just testing you. It's hard to say what you're going to feel like when you're under a little bit of pressure. Got some adrenaline, and you have to learn how to control it. So you'll see little checks, and those will start to disappear as the season goes on. In her preparation for the dismount. Nice combination. There you go. Oh gosh, off the mat completely. That's why I said, are you okay? Unbelievable. This was a long preparation into the dismount, but it was a nice combination going forward and then backward, but she's way off to the side. As you can see, one foot landed on the mat, the other foot entirely off the mat. That's when you're glad you have some adrenaline. You don't feel it until a few minutes later.
And they're young, remember that.
Yeah, don't remind me. Because if they're young, it means we're a lot older.
All right, we're going over to the floor exercise. University of Georgia performing over there. Katie Heenan just finishing her performance. Remember, this is a 4-ring circus, 4 events going on simultaneously, the other 2 teams on a bye, so there's a lot of action going on simultaneously at this Super 6 challenge.
And this is one of the things that the freshmen really have to get used to. In college in particular, people travel to the meets, and they have huge audiences up there that are looking at them, cheering loud, so it's distracting here. You've got 4 different teams going at the same time. They're all yelling for their own squad.
The score over on the beam for Samantha Lutz was a 9.65. And here are the scores so far for Georgia. The Gym Dogs on the floor, 9.65s, 2 of those, a 9.75, a 9.85 for Michelle Emmons, the senior. We're waiting on the score for Katie Heenan, the head coach for the University of Georgia. The legendary Suzanne Yoklin has a mic on. We'll be hearing from her throughout the competition. This is Kelsey Erickson, 5'5" sophomore out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Just saw the score posted for Katie Heenan, 9.9. Oh, no. And that looked like it stung a little. Those short landings. Really hurt the ankles. Short first landing, but that will definitely cost. I think it hurt the ankle a little bit.
You're just being careful. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It was a nice routine. Nice and clean. Your dance looked good. Presentation was good. You overblocked it a little bit for the speed that you had. I don't know if you were trying to control it or not, but it's just getting back into the rhythm of landing on the hard floor. We talked about that. You don't like that the first couple meets, so that's fine.
Please proceed to your next event.
All right, well, that is the end of the floor rotation for Georgia. When we come back, Alabama will take to the uneven bars. Don't go away. And welcome back to Florida. Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson-Clark. It's the Super 6 Challenge. The standings after the first rotation, Georgia 48-8. They're in the lead. Florida had a terrific start on a potentially scary event, the balance beam, with a 48-7-5. They're in second. Arizona and Penn State round out the top 4. Here we are in the second rotation. Georgia moves to vault, Alabama the bars. Penn State takes to the beam, and Iowa to the floor. Arizona and Florida are on buys. Remember, there are 6 teams competing. We are now getting ready for the uneven bars.
And both Georgia and Alabama are on typically strong events for them in this rotation, so we might see bigger scores here. Alabama opened with a 9.75 with their leadoff performer.
That was Shannon Hrozek. For Georgia over on the vault, which is going on simultaneously, Audrey Bowers had a 9.625. You're looking at Alexis Brion. She's the 5-time All-American. She's a senior out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. First team All-American on the floor exercise. She took 5th place in the 2004 NCAA championships on the floor, and she has been a talent, Kathy, since we first met her when she was about 12 years old.
Absolutely. Could you believe that? Double twisting, double back on the floor.
One of the first Americans to ever do it.
Absolutely. It's really fantastic. And she's had a terrific collegiate career so far. Might have jammed her finger a little bit. Of course, this is the kind of thing you see early in the season. Timing's just not quite there. She had her hands right on, but for some reason could not hang on. Let's see. A grip might have gotten in the way. It looks just slipped off. 0.5 of a point off for the fall. She'll resume the routine. Obviously, this will be the score that they'd like to drop. And an interesting dismount. Unexpected. Right off the hands into a back.
Keep in mind that 6 athletes compete for each team. The top 5 scores count, so they can have one miss. There is a little bit of a buffer, but they can't have more than one miss. Take a look at this. Shannon Hrozek at a 9.75. Caitlin White, the freshman, only a 9.25. So that fall by Alexis Brion could really hurt them because they're going to have to count at least one low score in this rotation on the uneven bars. Typically a very good event for them. All right, next up on the uneven bars, Dana Folletti. She out of Chesapeake, Virginia, from the powerful Excalibur gymnastics team. She, by the way, was an alternate on the 2001 World Championship team, so she's had international experience. They could use some of that right now after the 2 mistakes on the uneven bars. Kathy, it's early in the season, so how much can you judge from this?
Well, I know that they're using this as a gauge. They can go then back to their gyms and say, okay, these are the things we need to work on. We know what it feels like to perform when we're a little bit nervous, when we're unsure of things, and then go back and make some corrections. But there's no way to get past this pressure situation. You have 2 falls ahead of you, 2 low scores. You know you've got to count one of them. There's no way there's not a little extra pressure.
On that note, the score for Brion was a 9.0, so they will have to count the 9.25.
I will say, though, this is the best part of collegiate gymnastics, is the aspect of team where they pull up for each other. Somebody might have a fall or a miss. You make up for it. You just get right back on track. Nice release, just a little leg separation right as she caught the bar. Her heart probably jumped just a little bit. Alabama's typically very clean on this event. Using nice long swing, good form. Little rough on the landing.
All right, we said it's a 4-ring circus. Let's go quickly to the vault. This is Ashley Kupets, the 5'2" sophomore from Maryland. She is powerful.
And she had a terrific year last year as a freshman. Now a little bit more experience, slightly off center on that vault. So that will be a deduction. Of course, you could see the hop. Those kind of deductions are very obvious to you, but watch now where she's traveling in our direction off to this side, and she will land off to the side and then hop. Big hop.
Gymnastics fans might know that name, Kupets. Her younger sister, Courtney, competed for the U.S. in the Olympics in Athens and won 2 medals, in fact, and she'll be joining the team at the University of Georgia next year.
And aren't they excited about that? That'd be great.
They killed Katie's.
More and more Olympians keeping their amateur eligibility and staying on to compete in collegiate gymnastics because it is so thrilling, and there's that great, exciting team concept, not to mention the chance to earn a scholarship. Here are the scores on the vault for Georgia. You can see 9.375, the low score there for Kelsey Erickson. The score for Ashley Kupets is a 9.75, so that will replace that low score, and they'll have a solid team performance on the vault. Back to the uneven bar. Ashley Miles.
And I'm always amazed when I watch this gymnast. She's so strong. Technique is very good, too.
Score for Dana Folletti is a 9.725.
One of the greatest things that the great Svetlana Horkina did for the sport of gymnastics was tell everybody you're not too tall for this sport. So we're seeing taller gymnasts do amazing things. That got him rallied again.
She's just so much fun to watch.
She almost pulled the bars up when she taps for this dismount. Very dynamic right here. Taps through the bottom, boom, up into the air. Stretched out body and fought for the landing.
3 national titles, twice on the vault and 1 on the floor exercise. We'll see her perform in those events later on. Alabama, the Crimson Tide. Here are their scores on the bars, and you can see the Alexis Brion 9.0 is the low score, which will be dropped because a 9.85 comes in for Ashley Miles. That will help a lot. And they have 1 more performer to go. This is Mari Bayer out of West Valley Gymnastics, San Jose, California.
And completely different styles here. That's the fun thing about gymnastics, seeing different body types do. That was weird. Well, it's like her feet got too far underneath her when she caught the bar, and it just plucked her off at the bottom. She was
just a surprise.
This will lead to a low score, which means 3 uncharacteristic breaks for Alabama on what is normally a good event.
She's like, now what do I do? That's tough.
Early season jitters, perhaps.
This one was weird. See, her back was completely arched, angle in her shoulders as she made contact with the bars, and that's just going to pluck you right off when your weight hits the bottom.
2003, she was a first-team All-American on the bars.
There you go. Just not quite meet ready.
We'll get you caught up on all the scores at the Super 6 Challenge here in Gainesville when we come back. Don't go away. And welcome back to the University of Florida. Bart Connor along with Kathy Johnson-Clark, the Super 6 Challenge. We saw Mari Bayer before we went to commercial break. She scored only an 8.45, unfortunately, with that routine on the uneven bars. Let's take a look at the Crimson Tide's team scores. You'll notice 3 low scores there. You get to drop the lowest. That 8.45 will be dropped, but that will not help Alabama in this early season test. Let's take a look at the standings in this competition. Keep in mind there are 6 teams, and only 2 teams have actually competed 2 events, so the scores will be out of whack for a few rotations. Georgia in first, Penn State in second. The other 4 teams have only gone on 1 apparatus. Here is the rotation order now. Iowa moves to vault, Arizona to the bars, Alabama to the beam. Florida moves to the floor. The teams on the bye are Georgia and Penn State. And we will now go to the balance beam. And Shannon Rozek, she's an all-around competitor out of the Woodlands in Texas. 3-time Scholastic All-American. And she's a senior.
They have a lot to overcome after the uneven bar performance. They really got to pick up the scores. And this is an event they can do it on. It's just tough early in the season when you're really trying to hit everything just perfectly.
So far the scores, Rachel Delahousse had a 9.675. Aaron Wrightley a 9.6 for Alabama on beam.
2 layout step outs. A little check on the landing. Whoa, and the music is so loud.
Really
this is the loudest I've ever heard it during a competition. My heart's pounding. And I like loud music, but this is loud.
We're finding more and more of this in collegiate gymnastics. This place is rocking, and these young ladies are having a good time with gymnastics. But it puts all the more pressure on the athlete who's on another apparatus like the beam here.
I don't know, it's so loud, it's almost like white noise. Maybe she doesn't hear a thing. Chris seems unfazed by it. So far, very solid. Double twist dismount. Little give in the knees on the landing.
Alabama
you can tell they haven't been landing on the hard surface yet. You really want to protect athletes early in the season. They're doing a lot of landings in pits, a lot of landings in soft mats. So when you get into competition, it's a rude awakening to feel that hard floor.
You see her coaches there, Sarah and David Patterson, 27 years running that program, 4 NCAA titles, 22 consecutive appearances. And in 2003, she was elected into the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. She is a legend down there in Tuscaloosa.
And with all this experience among these coaches, they know not to worry too much this early in the season. They're seeing some of the mistakes probably they expected to see. They just need to convince their athletes it's okay. And we heard Susan early in the competition on floor exercise say, hey, I'm just not used to the hard landing. To hold back a little bit.
Here are the scores that we've seen so far. 9.675, 9.6, 9.825 for Shannon Rozek. So Alabama rebounding on the balance beam, strong.
They're probably saying crank the music even higher. That's helping us out over here. The judges might lose their minds there.
This is a real test of a team after a disastrous performance on the uneven bars. How can they come back on a pressure event like the beam? And they're showing strong composure here.
That's why you see this team repeatedly at the top. They know how to come back from that type of thing. There's very nice flexibility on this event.
Alabama program is proud of their academic achievements as well as their athletic achievements. 141 academic all-SEC athletes. And the coaches, Sarah and David Patterson, talk about their goal to develop a whole person, not just an elite athlete. And they seem to be doing a terrific job down there in Tuscaloosa.
It's great. Most of these programs really keep that in mind. Especially with some of the programs that are taking the elite gymnasts, helping them transition and then into life. It's awesome. Nice job so far.
Well, the Crimson Tide is rolling right back into this. Don't go away. More gymnastics on ESPN. Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson-Clark back here at the University of Florida, the Super 6 gymnastics competition. Here are the scores for Alabama on the balance beam. 9.825 so far. The high score, 9.6, a low score, and not a terribly low score at that. The pressure now on Ashley Miles, who she tends to know how to deliver, Kathy.
You can see her there really gathering her thoughts, focus, concentration. Oh, a very difficult mount. Round off, layout. Most of the athletes are choosing not to do that difficult amount. Just get on the beam and get going.
We talked about the energy in this building. They're used to competing in front of 9, 10, 11, 12,000 people back home in Alabama, so they're used to this kind of atmosphere. In fact, maybe they feed off of it a little bit. She's the first Alabama gymnast to repeat as an NCAA champion since Dana Dobransky-Duckworth, who did it back in 92 and 93 on the balance beam, and Dana happens to be one of their volunteer assistant coaches. They all have huge coaching staffs. I think Georgia has 10 people listed on their roster on their coaching staff, including physical therapists and sports psychologists.
Gymnastics has come a long, long way.
It's about time.
Now watch this. Way up in the air. Double back.
Whoa.
Wow, what a great landing. That's 2 for her here. Good landing.
Kathy, now she challenged herself a bit more difficulty than is even required with the rules here in collegiate gymnastics.
Right off the bat as well, Bart. Round off layout. Her hips were a little askew in the top. She corrected pretty well and saved it. And the dismount, and many of the athletes are changing dismounts to easier dismounts that they can stick. Nope, she's going to do the hard one and stick it too.
All right, well, they're happy over there on the balance beam. Alabama coming back. We're going to turn our attention to the floor exercise. Here are the scores for the Florida Gators. As you can see, they have 2 low scores, unfortunately. 2.9, 2.75 for Tracy Rye, Ashley Reed. Strong scores for Brianne King and Savannah Evans.
Yeah, that's too bad because they got off to such a good start on the balance beam, but they're going to have to count one of those. All the teams are having little misses here and there, and they're going to probably balance each other out, and we'll see how everything ends up. Orly Smooch has had just an amazing collegiate career. I have always enjoyed watching her gymnastics. She's like a spark plug. Very enthusiastic, very aggressive in competition. She's been consistently good.
By the way, the score on the balance beam for Ashley Miles, Alabama, was a 9.70. Smooch, a four-time All-American. She's known as one of the most consistent members of this team. Los Angeles, California.
In a sport where consistency reigns.
Kathy, that's one of the things I really like about women's collegiate gymnastics. There is a lot of parity here. Consistency is the key, and on any given day, nearly any team can win, and that's not the same in Olympic-level gymnastics, so this is just great for the sport.
Years ago, college gymnastics was an afterthought. After you finished your elite career or age group career, you might consider college. Now it's in the plans, even for the Olympians and World Championship team members. They plan this. Oh, too bad. Oh, big tumbling. Great choreography, a fun routine to watch. That's too bad, but early in the season, she can fix it.
Good point. A lot of times things like that happen when they're not landing on hard surfaces. You noticed even on her opening tumbling patch, she used this extra mat.
Yeah, which is actually harder to land in, but you've got to protect ankles. This is a long season. You don't want to get hurt the first competition out. Nice front tumbling pass. Boy, she had plenty of rotation. Good height. Look at that. Pulled it around too far. Looked like she might have been protecting that one ankle a little bit on the landing.
Protecting from injuries is a key. These athletes compete 13, 14 times a year. When they were elite athletes, they might only compete 2 or 3 times a year. So it's a long season, culminating, of course, in April in the NCAA championships, which is what they're focused on. That will be in Auburn this year. All right, let's go back over to the balance beam. A few moments ago in this 4-ring circus, Mari Bayer took to the beam.
It was very pretty on this event. Long legs, she can show them off, show off the flexibility and fluid movement. And a chance to redeem herself.
After that bad landing, unfortunately, for Orly Schmutz, 9.175, her score on the floor for Florida.
That's pretty. Nice flexibility, nice control. Balance beam. Might as well show balance, and that was really pretty. It's nice to see some choreography on beam, especially in elite gymnastics. We're getting so many tricks back to back to back.
And so the score, 9.625 for Mari Bayer. And when we come back, Georgia comes off the bye. They will take to the uneven bars. Don't go away. More gymnastics to come. And welcome back to the Super 6 Challenge. We're in the 4th of 6 rotations. There are the scores. This is the first time all the teams are comparing apples to apples. Everybody has had 2 events and 1 bye. So those are the standings. The big surprise there so far is Arizona is up in 2nd place, having a terrific competition. You see that Florida goes to the vault, Georgia to the bars, Arizona to the beam, and Penn State to the floor. Now Arizona, a little bit of a surprise, but they have done well on 2 of their higher scoring events, and so Alabama slipped a little bit because of some poor performances. But here's a great opportunity to take a look at Katie Heenan, world medalist on the uneven bars. And boy, Kathy, she can really swing this event, can't she?
She certainly can. See, and that's a sign of inexperience, too, to not be able to cover from that, just pirouetting and swing moves. Early in the season, mental error. Yeah, just not enough experience.
Just a freshman. She won her bronze on the uneven bars at the World Championships in 2001.
miss that. It doesn't keep us from enjoying the rest of the routine. She said she can really swing this event. There's a nice variety of different types of skills. Double front. A little sluggish on the double front. Oh.
That's a shame. I know. That's okay.
This is just an unusual mistake because top of the exercise had to be nerves because technically she is so sound.
Yep. Yep. She just went too early, brought her legs up together too early.
No. Okay.
I think over anxious.
Stuff happens.
So we'll see more from Katie Heenan throughout the season. Suzanne Jacqueline gives her a hug and a little bit of encouragement, as do her teammates. All right, now let's look back over to the fall. Florida just finished their performances there, and wow, look at those scores, Kathy. The low score, a 9.6 for Orly Schmooch. And that's the one that they'll drop. Look at those, 4.98s and a 9.85, 9.75. Typically, vault is a higher scoring event, and so most teams use that as a way to break up into the top of the standings. Kelsey Erickson, the sophomore, will be next now on the uneven bars. She had a shaky performance, unfortunately, on the floor exercise. Put her hands down. How she recovers from that.
Come on, baby.
Is a very important part of the new foundation at Georgia. They're building around for the next 2 or 3 years, bringing up their freshmen. This is someone they count on for big gymnastics. And boy, you're seeing it here on this event. Nice, big, high-flying release moves. And good form.
Come on.
Hard to stick those dismounts right off the bat. Got to get used to the competition.
Very nice. It was beautiful.
We said to Suzanne Jacqueline yesterday, how's your team going to do? And she goes, I lost 9 people from my team last year. Most of my performances, I got 5 new freshmen. She goes, I have no idea what to expect from these
No
freshmen.
reductions on the up until the last dance. Very nice routine. Very nice routine for the first routine of the season. Okay, you were trying to compensate a little bit. Good job. Good job, you guys.
All right, here are the scores for Georgia on the bars. 9.375, 9.3. Those are the 2 lowest scores in that rotation, and hopefully they'll have one more strong performance to drop one of those 2 scores. 9.8 for Erickson on the bars. Kelsey Erickson redeems herself after a shaky floor performance and comes up with a big 9.8 for Georgia on the uneven bars. Now to the balance beam. Arizona having a terrific, solid competition. Bill Ryden is their head coach.
They were until they got to this event. We've seen a couple low scores, a 9.175 from Jamie Schell, and then right before Danielle, Monica Basorti went up with a 9.2. Count one of those.
Danielle Hicks, an All-American, Olympic trials competitor. She competes, not All-American. She is an all-around performer. One of 4 athletes on the team from Arizona, a member of the Canadian national team. Back in 2002, she won bronze in the Commonwealth Games. Coach Ryden excited about this team. They have 11 returning gymnasts from last year, 6 seniors. Very tough schedule. They'll be going against 12 of the top 25 teams throughout this competitive season.
All right, good routine to come back with.
Kathy, you mentioned their beam scores, and remember, this is a team event first and foremost. They had 1.98 from Katie Johnson, but there are 9.725 Jamie Deuce, but a couple of low scores there. Preseason poll picked Arizona 13th. Let's quickly go over to Penn State on the floor. Oh!
Shot her out of bounds.
This is Lisa Clark, the senior. She's a transfer from Auburn University. Really a three-event person. Floor, vault, and beam primarily. From Philadelphia originally. By the way, the score on the balance beam for Danielle Hicks, a 9.675, so that'll help Arizona after a couple of shaky performances over there.
Really amazing comeback story here. They took a chance on accepting her from Auburn. Had some disciplinary problems last year, but she has made a complete turnaround. She's really come back to help this team, so coach is thrilled about that. Nice double back at the end.
All right, nice performance for Penn State. Exciting gymnastics, more to come. Georgia goes to the dreaded balance beam, and Alabama to the floor when we come back. Well, there's 8,119 raving fans here tonight to see the Super 6 Challenge of Gymnastics. It's the second highest crowd in the history of the University of Florida Gymnastics. Congratulations to all those happy folks enjoying a great night of gymnastics. 6 of the best teams in the country here to compete. Here are the standings after 4 rotations. Georgia and Florida, the top 2. Arizona has dropped to 3rd. Florida moved back up to 2nd after a strong performance on the vault. There are your top 6. All right, here is the rotation order. Remember, 4 teams are competing, 2 are on buys. So Penn State is at vault, Iowa's at the bars, Georgia on beam, Alabama on floor, Arizona and Florida are on the buys in this rotation. All right, now we go to the balance beam. Georgia, Audrey Bowers, the freshman out of Lilburn, Georgia. Kathy, you'll like this. She was 7-time level 10 qualifier to nationals. She was also the homecoming queen and Miss Congeniality at her school.
She got it all.
And a fine gymnast to boot.
Getting lots of experience here right off the bat, and that's what most of the coaches want to do. They want to give their freshmen experience early in the season, so in case they need them in pressure events later, they're not being thrown out there for the first time. So they're playing with the lineup, getting the freshmen used to competing in this format with this type of crowd.
Okay, we're okay. I don't know. Okay, Audrey, take a breath.
How can you not get caught up in Suzanne Yakelin's enthusiasm? They've won this competition 2
said we turned in the
times.
wrong order. We didn't. We did. We said we had Audrey first. We didn't.
13 times she's won the SEC championship, and Georgia has won the NCAA championship 5 times. So they know what they're doing, and she knows how to bring this young team along just right.
So you can see the nerves building up, waiting for that judge's hand to go up.
Brittany Smith was the first performer for Georgia on the beam, a 9.7, so a great start.
And Georgia typically comes out strong right at the front of the season. So Suzanne said they're doing it a little differently this year because they're so young. She wants to start out slower and build, add difficulty as they go along. Nice difficulty to lay out step outs.
But you did mention that they typically go for very difficult routines.
She loves the big, flashy tricks, especially on floor. She likes opening with just the biggest and the best. The scoring system allows for some conservative type gymnastics as well. And that's one of the problems, actually, in the scoring system, because it doesn't separate the gymnasts quite enough. The ones who are doing the really huge gymnastic skills don't quite get enough credit.
Although I have to admit, there is a lot of parity in women's collegiate gymnastics.
That's what it allows for. Exactly. It makes it exciting. It makes all the competition good.
Beautiful routine.
Makes the judges'
It's a little low in that dismount.
job tough. Makes our job tough. Because we might recognize that, wow, that has a lot more difficulty, but it's going to get a very similar score to one that might not quite have the same difficulty, but would be very clean.
Even Suzanne Yocklin had said that she'd like to see if they would devalue some of the skills to bring the scores a little bit down so that they can further separate the gymnasts.
You're there. You're going to be high, so be ready. Okay, you got it,
I'm pumped up.
Ashley, go put your foot on the mat. Hold the mat for her. Michelle, do you want to stand?
It's teamwork. You think one person's on the balance beam? Nope, the whole team is in it together.
9.75, the score for Audrey Bauer. This is Michelle Emmons.
The lone senior.
She is the only senior from Houston, Texas. 2004, she was 6th on floor exercise at the SECs. She's been a strong performer, consistent on the balance beam. On a personal note, I've known this young lady since she was about 11 years old. She used to come to our gymnastics camp, so I can't believe she's a senior and doing so well.
She's led off on all 3 of the events that she competes, sometimes all 3 in the same competition. So she really provides strong leadership. It's what Suzanne is counting on from her this year in particular. And she's added difficulty as a senior. She's got a new dismount on balance beam. We'll see if she performs it here.
Come on, Michelle. Thank you.
How did you like to do it? Did you like to start slow, or did you like to go for all your big skills right at the beginning of the season?
Depending on the time in my career. Early in my career, it didn't matter. You're young, you could do it all then. Later on, I had to build. I had to add. Then towards the end, I had to take out.
Well, it worked pretty well. I remember that Olympic medal winning performance on the balance beam, so I guess it worked out okay, didn't it, Kathy?
Preparation for this new dismount, double pike. Good for her. That puts a smile on your face, doesn't it?
That's a win. It's
You're right. Now that's a skill she didn't need to go for.
These are 2 layouts. You're really trying to keep those hips and shoulders square. And she attacks the landing. Just a little check of the balance. Double pike, very difficult to land this well. It's really easy to get your feet too far underneath you and over rotate.
All right, nice performance for Michelle Emmons.
She can take out the mount if
So
she
far,
wants
their
to.
score is 9-7 for Brittany
Okay,
Smith,
Nikki, you got it. One skill at a time. Come
9-7-5
on,
for
baby.
Audrey Bowers, and a
got it.
9-7-7-5 for Michelle Emmons. So
got
3 solid performances in the bag for Georgia here. And this is Nikki Childs. Now, she's just a freshman. She comes from that famous program in Plano, Texas, WOGA, where, of course, Carly Patterson came from, the Olympic all-around champion in Athens. And Nikki is a terrific addition to this team.
Well, they had a whole group of athletes training together, and many of them just went off to college this year. She is gorgeous on this event. Her flexibility and her grace, outstanding here. Oh, gorgeously, absolutely beautiful. She is a nice addition to this Georgia team. They always have the strength and the power and the big tricks. She brings a lot of finesse.
seeing so many of these young ladies compete as individuals when they're trying to make the elite level. And this team atmosphere is a terrific boost for most of these young ladies, and it revives their love of gymnastics.
They love it. I love seeing the sparkling smiles. They're just thrilled to be here.
All right, nice performance. We'll give you her score when we come back. And Alabama will be on the floor. Now on the floor exercise for Alabama, this is Mari Baer. They've had 3 performers already. Erin Rightly, a 9.7, 9.725 for Dana Pierce. Dana Folletti, 9.75. So,
okay, remember on your layout, open your hips.
That was a pretty pike double back. Very graceful, actually. If you can be graceful, tumbling.
over on the balance beam, Nikki Childs at a 9.825. So Georgia pouring it on that pressure-packed event. Competition expected to be a battle, especially between the three powerful SEC teams, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. Florida on a bye. They will finish on the uneven bars.
Very pretty routine.
Very stylish gymnast.
Even in her tumbling, it carries over. She's not the most powerful, strong, but she uses her technique and good form to show it off.
She was a teammate of Amy Chow, the young lady that was part of the magnificent 7 gymnastics team that won the '96 Olympic gold medal there at West Valley Gymnastics in San Jose, California. And now as a junior here for Alabama. Yeah, my goodness. Alexis Breon will be the next performer on the floor for Alabama. Quickly the score on Mari Baer, 9.825. So Kathy, the judges appreciated that elegance and style as well. Here are their scores. Strong performance. While Georgia is over on the beam, Alabama solid on the floor.
And I had done some quick math. They need about a 9.75 average to move ahead of Arizona into 3rd place, which they're doing so far. Gosh, is she swinging. She just has a way. Coming is so easy.
Moments ago on the balance beam for Georgia, they had their first poor performance. Kelsey Erickson had an unlucky 8.65, so they have 4 solid scores over there. They need one more to hang on to first place here.
Routine. It's so easy to get caught up in her smile. It lights up.
Alexis Breon, Alabama, preseason pick 4th. They were 3rd in a tie last year's championships. You see the finish there of Katie Heenan's routine on the balance wheel. Very high, tough double somersault. Good comeback after her disappointment on the uneven bars. Here are the scores now for Georgia. The 8.65 will be dropped. Katie Heenan's score will obviously replace that. And I think Georgia will be happy with that team effort on the beam.
And that's what it's all about, team. Looks like the scores are coming up.
Look out, folks. Could be the treat of the meet right here. Ashley Miles on the floor.
Oh, big, beautiful double layout.
The score on the beam, 9.825 for Katie Heenan. This battle is heating up.
This is exactly what Alabama needed right here. Big routine.
See why she's the national champion on this event. By the way, her teammate Alexis Brion, her score was a 9.9.
And that's a pro. Come up with that landing. That was the tiny bit short, but you wouldn't have known it. Unless you're a gymnast, you know. I was like, whoa! But she just stepped back very calmly.
It's a brilliant talent.
Yes. You got to be a cat to know that kind of landing, to just know what it feels and know how to adjust.
Let's take a look at that opening tumbling run. That double layout, just skies.
Besides that middle dance part, this was the highlight. Look at that, just way up in the air. And she's thinking, all I need is one more good landing here. And I have helped my team immensely.
And a 9.9 for Ashley Miles. Strong finish for Alabama. 2 9.9s to round out their competition on the floor. Fantastic. The Super 6 Challenge will continue on ESPN. Ready now for the final rotation here at the Super 6 Challenge. Here are the standings after 5. Georgia and Penn State are the only two teams that have completed the competition. Their last rotation is a bye, in other words. Florida, Alabama, Arizona, and Iowa yet to go in this 6th and final rotation. Alabama will be on the vault, on the bars. Florida, Iowa to the beam, and Arizona will finish up on the floor. There is the Alabama coach, Sarah Patterson. 27 years she has run that program, and there's Rhonda Fain in just her 3rd year here at the University of Florida.
And this is going to be an exciting rotation. Florida is 0.55 ahead of Alabama at this point. Alabama's on a big scoring event, and bars is good for Florida. It's going to be good, head-to-head. Let's see what happens.
Georgia has set the mark, 194.85. Let's put that into perspective. Florida, if they hope to win, would need to average 9.82 for 5 of their athletes to go into the lead. Alabama, which is over on the vault, which is typically a high-scoring event, needs a 9.93 average, which is unlikely. So, a lot of pressure on these young ladies in the final rotation. Georgia has set the mark to beat, and they're just going to sit back and watch and see if anybody can catch them.
Jamie Holton will lead off Arizona in the floor exercise.
Suzanne Yocklin has taken her team off the floor. They're back in the locker room. Penn State, the only other team that is also finished with the competition here. They finished with a 193, a good score for an early outing for them. Okay, Orly Smooch up on the bars now.
She's just qualified to compete at the Maccabea Games. Very nice release move, going the other direction. Very clean work. I'm very impressed with her form. In fact, it has improved throughout her career. Really tight legs, perfectly together on the dismount.
Oh, give her a big score.
Dismount, but wow, can you do it any better, any cleaner? The release move in the middle of the routine was superb.
All right, quickly, we're going over to Alabama on the vault. Erin Rightly ready to go. His battle is heating up.
Oh, Yurchenko laid out not a difficult vault. It's not going to get a real big score because it's not worth as much in the code of points. Of course, the most common vault we see in collegiate gymnastics is that vault with a full twist. It's worth a 10.0. Many people think it should be devalued because there are more difficult vaults that the gymnast can perform, but we get no credit.
A lot of action here at the Super 6. We're going to go back and forth between these two teams who have a chance, albeit a long shot, to win this thing. The first score for Orly Smooch on the bars, 9.825. Remember, they said they have to average 9.82 to go into the lead.
Well, this makes it interesting.
Sure does.
Lead off. Sheree Owens has worked so hard all fall on this event. Greatly improved, increased her skill level, much cleaner. Coach Wanathan has been very happy to see her progress here. Cranking up for the dismount. Very nice. Catches some double back. We'll step on the landing. When you're shooting for a 9.825, you can't have a step.
She's recovering from a knee injury, so perhaps protecting herself a little bit on that full twisting double, but good technique. 5 feet 7 inches tall. She can really fly those.
I was going to say, she is such a long gymnast, and she uses her height very well on this event. Nice long straight lines. Great, nice tight competition in this final rotation.
Now, moments ago, Alabama on the vault. Dana Folletti took to the vault. She got a 9.0 for putting her hands down on this vault. The first vaulter, Erin Rightly, had a 9.6, so that score will have to count. Back to the bar. Sheree Owens had a 9.825, so they are right on mark. 2 scores, strong enough to give them a chance to win this thing.
Fortunately, this is a weaker bar routine that kind of got tucked in there in the middle,
Good
which
coaching.
is excellent coaching. We'll see what the judges do with it. I wasn't scoring the routine in terms of the difficulty and what it's worth. But she hit.
We talked about what they need. We said 9.82 average. Well, there you go, 9.825. Maybe they were listening, Kathy.
Well, they're right down below us.
That's their hope if they want to win this thing in front of an adoring home crowd of nearly 8,200 people. All the University of Georgia can do is sit back. They're finished. On to fame in just her 3rd year. University of Florida has had great women's collegiate gymnastics. Back to Ernestine Russell and Judy Avner, and so she's taken over a program that had a strong foundation. All right, the score for Brianne King was a 9.8, just a little under the average that they need.
Needs a stick here. She was going to come up with that. Just let go, a little sluggish going into it. It's going to be too hard to pull it around to her feet.
A lot of success on the bars as a level 10 gymnast. National champion, in fact, last year. She's just a freshman. You see that 9.8 for Brianne King will have to count because Tiffany Murray's score will certainly be lower than that. So their last two performers have enormous pressure to knock out a couple of 9-9s if Florida hopes to win this thing at home. Score for Murray, 9.375, so that loads up the pressure on another freshman, Ashley Reed. She's from just down the road in Davie, Florida. 2004 level 10, 9th in the all-around. Jeff Wood is her coach down there at Orlando Metro, and he's produced some fine gymnasts.
Don't you know her heart is pounding right now?
Beautiful.
Nice, big release move. Very smooth. Transition to the low bar. And the coaches work just as hard as the gymnasts, getting the mats out of the way and spotting. Needs a stick.
Oh, she went for such a difficult dismount.
Yeah. Just like the other one, just let go a little too early. I think overly anxious. Also, you just haven't done that many full routines at this point in the season. So the hardest thing is going to be the dismount, being able to judge how much rotation you need. She just lets go right here, sends it out right here, a little too far out, doesn't quite get her feet underneath her hips. It was close, but not quite. Oh, they had a chance.
Intense competition, one of the most prestigious events of the year, and it's the first event of the year. Enormous pressure on these young ladies. Kathy, you even said it would maybe be better if this meet were a little later on in the season.
Yeah, because it's such a great meet to have all these teams together. It's just a tough time to put it right at the start.
And so the score for Ashley Reed, another 9.375. And that means that no matter what this next young lady does, Samantha Lutz, Georgia's going to win, and Florida should end up in second. But let's watch this exciting routine because she has a spectacular dismount as well.
Even with the missed dismounts, this team has improved so much over the last few years. That's the landing they needed.
Nice finish for Samantha Lutz and the Florida Gators. Georgia's going to win. We'll come back with the final scores. Well, what a start to the 2005 NCAA Women's Gymnastics season. The final results are in here. By the way, Samantha Lutz from Florida on the bars had a 9.875, but it was not enough. Georgia wins by 0.4 of a point over Florida, the host of today's competition. Down on the floor now is Kathy Johnson-Clark, and she's with Suzanne Jockelin.
So, Suzanne, you said before the competition, with all these freshmen, you had no idea what they were going to do. Now, what do you think?
Well, I'm just very proud of them. I knew coming into the meet, just through experience and having been in this competition so many times, that it's so early in the season that a lot of teams are going to make a lot of mistakes. So our objective was to give our girls routines that they could hit and that we could start out the season with these freshmen having some confidence that we could build on, and that's what we did tonight.
So what's the next practice going to be like? What are you going to say to them?
Well, we've got a lot of work to do, but I've already said most of what I needed to say to them. They know that I'm very proud of them. They did exactly what the plan was, and that was to have as least number of falls as possible, and I think we only had one counting fall. And so for early in the season, with 60%, over half of our lineup freshmen on every single event, we just accomplished everything that I set down for them for the first competition.
Well, thank you. Congratulations, and good luck for the rest of the season. Back to you, Bart.
Well, they lost 9 star performers and brought in 5 exciting new freshmen, and the Georgia Gym Dogs won it all. Their 4th Super 6 challenge. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Kathy Johnson, I'm Bart Connor. Thanks for watching Gymnastics on ESPN.